Hi everybody, welcome to Mobility Monday. My name is Bart Hawkinson, physical therapist at Therapeutic Associates, Northlake Physical Therapy. Today we're going to spend a little bit more time talking about some of my favorite exercises for lower back pain, lower back stiffness. Some of these are kind of common on Mobility Monday, but I find that they're so important. There's so many people that are dealing with stiffness, especially with a lot of the sitting that we're doing in our world today. And just generally through the day, that it's worth spending a little bit more time on. So this is a few more of my favorites. Just to recap, lower back pain, sometimes it responds really well to some generalized stretching, which we'll definitely go over today. And also there's some specific stretches. So as we go through, I'm going to point out again a couple things that depending on how your back responds to the specific stretch, you may want to continue on or you may want to move in a different direction for that. So we'll point that out as we go. All right, so oftentimes, the back gets kind of stiff when you've been sitting for a while. Oftentimes it's pretty stiff upon waking up in the morning. So after you've been sort of sedentary for a little bit, it's good to get moving. And I like to start small and then kind of move from there. So one of my favorites to start out with is just this real simple little knee sway. Again, if you've watched all of these, you've seen this before, but knees are together, feet are together, back is flat and relaxed. I'm not bracing my core or anything at this point. I'm just going to let my knees sway from side to side. And if things are a little stiff, a little sore, you can start really small. So if this is like you just kind of mildly pulled something the other day in the yard and it's just kind of talking to you a bit, start small with this. It should ease into it, should limber up as we go, especially like in the morning or if you've maybe had a long car ride, day after a long flight. Sometimes it just needs to warm up into the movement. Ideally, we want to get to the point where we can get the knees pretty much to the ground. I'm a little sore today on my right side, so you may see there's a little bit of a difference here. Can get the knees pretty easily to the ground here, and it's just a little bit stiffer. I'm not going to force it, I'm just going to kind of allow that to happen. So I like to do about roughly 10 of these, but I'm kind of listening to my body. Sometimes it feels like it's limbered up after just a couple, sometimes it needs a few more. So once things are feeling pretty good here, we'll move on into a simple little knee to chest pull. So I've got both knees bent, and I'm going to come up here. I'm going to make sure that the knee, I'm not pulling straight up, but at a slight outward angle. So this will be a little more comfortable on the hip, coming out towards the shoulder here. Some people even can, kind of feel a pinch in the hip if they're coming straight up. So out to the side, breathing easy, back down. About 5-second holds on these. We'll do a couple to each side. I'm just going to go through one more time on each side here. Great. And then changing position here. Come up into this position here, and I'm going to go through a little, call a cat-camel stretch. So back is flat. I'm going to let the back sag a little bit, just kind of see how it feels. And then I'm going to come up the other direction and see how it feels. Now you may find that one direction is painful, one direction feels kind of good, or sometimes, oftentimes really it's that sort of hurt so good kind of feel. What we're looking for here is the pattern. As you do more of these, does it loosen up in one direction or does it get irritated? So it may be that like each time I go up into this position, it kind of hurts a little bit. Or maybe each time I go down, it's like, ooh, that doesn't feel good. That would be an indication that we'd want to avoid that position. Conversely, if I'm doing this and it's like each time I go up in this, it's sort of a little bit of a painful stretch, but it's like, oh, that feels good, I want to go further. That's exactly what we want to do. And ideally, as we go through this, in a perfect world, we'll gain mobility in both directions. So, if you're going through this, avoid the one that worsens the more you do it, but if it feels like it loosens up or feels good, that's what you want to keep going through. The next thing we're going to do here is coming forward into a prayer stretch or child's pose position. So here, I'm going to come back. It's kind of like I'm sitting back between my heels. Now, should generally feel pretty good. If for whatever reason your shoulders don't tolerate this, maybe some shoulder issues, you can come in and let the elbows bend and come back. It creates a very similar stretch through the back. Come up on out of it. One word of caution with this is if bending forward bothers you, or if kind of moving to this position bothers you, this might not be what you want to do, especially if you feel like you do more of these. If pain starts to travel, it starts to radiate further out, like maybe from the back down to the buttock or to the thigh, that's definitely a sign that you need to move in a different direction. Again, if you do more of them and it feels like things loosen up, perfect. That's exactly what you should be doing. Now, next thing we're going to do is we're going to come down into a flat position here. And I'm going to come up onto my elbows, see how that feels. If that's comfortable, I'm going to come up a little bit further, a little press up here. If that's comfortable, I'm going to come all the way up like so. Hold this for about 10 seconds, breathing easy. Come on back down. Again, find your point of comfort. If you get a stretch here, great. If you need to come a little further up, excellent. And if you come up all the way, excellent as well too. Now, oftentimes the previous stretcher you did where we were flexing forward, it's the opposite of this. So often if that's aggravating, if that causes your symptoms to spread, then what you want to do is this one. Conversely, if you try this and it's painful, it's sharp, doesn't go anywhere, you want to go the other direction. You want to go into that child's pose or prayer stretch position. So you're looking for patterns. If one is aggravating, causes your pain to spread, go the other direction. If both feel good, excellent. That's what your back needs. It just wants more mobility in all directions. We'll go one more time through here. Breathing easy. About 10 seconds on the hold. Great. And we're going to come on to the side for one of my personal favorite low back stretches. I'm going to bring my knees to a comfortable bend, not quite 90 degrees, and then I'm going to let my legs switch like so. So top knee is down on the floor, hips are stacked. I'm going to support my head. My top arm reaches forward, then I come up towards the ceiling, and now I'm turning my ribs and my torso. And again, I'm a little stiff on my right side. Trying to keep the knee on the floor. It wants to come up again because I'm a little tight through here today. And coming back out of it. Do about 4 more on this side, and then we'll switch over. Exhaling as you stretch. And back up again. Important point with this one is with your arm, don't let your arm drop down behind you. That can be tough on the shoulder. Rotate through the whole torso and ribs. I'm following along, supporting my head and neck. If you want to have a pillow under your head, that's just fine. Coming on back out of that. One more time through here. And then we'll switch over to get the other side. Hips are stacked, top knee is down, and I'll rotate over. Exhaling as I stretch. Again, trying to keep the knee down. You can see mine came up a little bit there. There we go. A little tight to this side as well. All right. So with this lower back stuff, again, key points are if things feel good in one direction but are aggravated in another, then you want to move in the direction that with repeated stretching it feels better, it feels like it loosens up. You want to avoid repeated movements that cause your symptoms to increase or spread. If all directions feel good, great, that's just what your back needs. As always, if you have any questions with this, feel free to email me. That's Bart, B-A-R-T-H, @TAIPT.com. Everybody, take care of your backs and keep moving.